It's been 6 years since Royal Enfield introduced its 650cc platform, and in the past 6 years it has grown from 2 family members to 6. This being the latest, the scrambler derivative of the Interceptor 650 meet the Bear 650. Now, in a recent comparison with the Interceptor and the BSA Gold Star 650, we found that the Interceptor had seemingly lost a bit of its charm. Does the Bear bring it back? What is it packing? Is it a better purchase, and is it a more sensible purchase than the Interceptor? That's what we'll find out in this video. So let's start with a short, quick review. Visually, the Bear 650 looks like a beefed up, rugged version of the Interceptor, and that's what it basically is. It gets genre-specific styling with racing-inspired colors from the 1960s and 70s with improved suspension as well as wheel components. It is also the only and the first 650cc bike to get all LED lighting, plus the circular TFT screen from the Himalayan makes its way over here as well. Adding to the sense of butchness is the way one sits on this motorcycle. Now, mind you, it is taller to hop on, but because the foot pegs have been pushed slightly forwards, your shin don't end up bashing that much. And after spending nearly 300 kilometers in the saddle of this bike, the seating issues from the Interceptor seem to have been solved to a great extent. Now, thanks to this lovely 2-in-1 exhaust setup, Royal Enfield has been able to generate a bit more torque from the engine. So the performance gains are evident as the Bear bounces off the line as if it has smelt blood. It reaches triple-digit speeds in a jiffy and can sustain highway speeds rather effortlessly. The most improved and the most endearing aspect of the Bear 650 has to be the way it sits and maintains its composure in a straight line or even in the bends. No longer does it feel nervy or wavy like the Interceptor did. The suspension components help in this department, plus the tires are also far up to the mark. Now, considering that you have to spend nearly 40,000 rupees more than the Interceptor, does seem like a fair bit. However, if you were to suggest picking between the Interceptor and the Bear, this would be a far more rewarding choice. So let's get into the deeper details of the Bear 650 now. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? In a sense, yes, it has the aura of the Interceptor 650. However, Royal Enfield is a very heritage-driven company, and the original Interceptor had scrambling roots. In fact, the name Bear 650 comes from the company's victory at the grueling 1960s Bear Run competition held quite close to where we are right now in the outskirts of Los Angeles. However, the scrambler-ness of the 650 comes to the revisions made to the motorcycle, starting with the side plates which are bearing the numbers. Then you get the revised, narrower subframe, the racing-inspired liveries from the 60s and 70s, and this scrambler-style bench seat. Now, there are 5 colorways to choose, and this Wild Honey is my absolute favorite as it goes along with the desert racer vibe that this bike is supposed to evoke. But I suspect a lot of Indian buyers will find the Golden Shadow with its golden USD forks a far more appealing purchase. And I'm confused as to why Royal Enfield couldn't provide the same finish to the other colorways as well, but heck, that's what it is. There is a bit of fancy tech on board, some of it borrowed from the Himalayan like the TFT console, and some of it a first for the 650cc family, that is the LED turn indicators. I did find the Joy Cube to be a bit lacking when it comes to the tactile feel, and a grouse with the rotary switches continues, but it seems that we would have to accept that all Royal Enfield bikes will get it going forwards. Since this is the oldest platform in the Royal Enfield portfolio, it shows that the quality levels aren't exactly like the new Sherpa series bikes or even the 650cc cruisers. However, it still has neat wiring and a clean look to it with brilliant paint finishing. We wish the weld finishes, especially in the fortified areas of the chassis, see an improvement. So a lot has been changed from the Interceptor, and that starts with the way one sits on the motorcycle. And picking it up off the side stand feels a bit more of a task here because this bike, the frame has been jacked up, but the side stand still remains the same length. Curb weight has gone down by just 2 kilos. What is helpful though is that the foot peg position has been moved forwards, so the shins are no longer bashing when you want to move around in the parking lot. Out on the road, this scrambler style seat, it was very effective, and even after spending countless hours in the saddle, you didn't feel fatigued or your tailbone did end up hurting you. Plus, the bars are wider, taller, and you get this sense of a commanding yet an attacking posture on this motorcycle, which is great because you've got a lot more grunt with the Bear. Powering the Bear 650 is the same engine, making a bit more power but noticeably more torque. The new exhaust system has allowed them to achieve the improvements. The internal gear ratios remain the same, but the sprocketing is different. It bears a rear sprocket that has 3 teeth more than the Interceptor. However, with the larger rolling circumference of the tires, the final drive is more or less the same. Now, thanks to the performance gains, it is evident that the Bear 650 is the liveliest member of the Royal Enfield 650cc family. It reaches its triple-digit speeds very rapidly, and it sustains 120, 130, and even some ridiculously high speeds that we are doing out here in the California streets very, very easily. But having said that this engine was rather smooth also when you are sustaining say 120. It felt very effortless, very calming, and the sense of control and the sense of connection with the throttle was very neat. Moving on, the clutch action still remains a little on the heavier side. We wish that Royal Enfield had tuned that for a more softer approach, and that might just turn out to be a bit of an issue that we found on the various other 650s when we are riding it in our Indian conditions. We couldn't test out the heat over here, especially because how cool the riding conditions were throughout the day. We'll keep that for a proper check once we are back in our HQ. But as a sense of this engine, this feels rather nice and it sort of brings back a joy. And even though we were doing some serious speeds, the fuel efficiency readout on the onboard computer was showing 18 to 19 kmpl, which should be great because sustaining 130 kmph is no mean feat. While the frame remains the same, it has been fortified in a lot more places to take on the extra forces that the light scrambling that the bike can be subjected to. It is running on similar Showa's units as the Super Meteor 650 and the Shotgun 650, but with the revised lengths and tuning for better bump absorption. There is a 19-17-inch spoke wheel setup with specially developed MRF Nylorex tires for the Bear 650, which have a Pirelli Scorpion STR vibe to them. While the braking specifications remain more or less the same as the Interceptor, the feel and characteristics have been modified to suit the Bear. And lastly, you do get switchable ABS for better confidence over the dusty stuff. The Bear 650 happens to be the most agile and liveliest members of the 650cc family, and that's thanks to the revision that Royal Enfield has done with this motorcycle for it to be this wild child of a motorcycle. It handles cornering thrills very, very neatly. You can chase down apexes, you can carry your lines, and it will do so without breaking a sweat. And that's a big thing because on the Interceptor we found that the front end was a bit vague and the tires didn't provide that ample amount of grip that you were searching for when you're chasing apexes. To their credit, 19-inch front, the 17-inch rear wheel come wrapped in these new MRF Nylorex tires, which are specially developed for this motorcycle. They do have a Pirelli Scorpion STR feel to them, but they didn't break traction one bit. So in that sense, these were holding up over here, and even when we did a bit of off-roading, they were certainly up to the task, but we'll do that for a thorough road test. Moving on to the brakes, the stopping performance seemed very solid, just like the Interceptor, in fact, slightly better than the Interceptor. This still feels like a very solid handling package. In terms of ride quality, well, we didn't get that many bad roads here, but it still felt a bit on the firmer side.
We are expecting the suspension to feel firm on our Indian roads, but the balance is certainly going to be better than the Interceptor. Hence, you might not feel wishy-washiness like you do on the Roadster, but thuds and bumps would be felt over here.
So has the Bear 650 brought back the charm that was seemingly missing from the new Interceptor? Why? Yes, because this bike is far more rewarding and far more joyous than the Interceptor. Yes, you have to shell out 40,000 rupees more when you compare the base prices of the Bear to the Interceptor, but those 40,000 rupees are well justified for the kind of riding experience that you're getting with this scrambler-styled motorcycle. And to their credit, this does turn out to be a great urban runabout as well. As for its highway mannerisms, well, it does the job rather neatly as well. However, you'll feel a lot of wind buffeting if you're riding it extremely fast, but that you can solve with the various accessories that Royal Enfield offers with this motorcycle. We shall put it to a test cycle back at our HQ and find out whether it's just as enjoyable and just as likable in the Indian road scenarios. So what do you think about the Bear 650? Do let us know in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and share this video, subscribe to our channel, hit the bell notification icon, and always wear riding gear on all your rides.